Hello guys, I just thought I'd do this video, and it's on a topic about bullying and verbal abuse and how to recognize verbal abuse. Okay, and I wanted to show you guys. It says how to recognize verbal abuse and bullying. Okay, well we all know, and it says here, and you can look this up for yourself. It says here, most people assume that if they were being verbally abused, they would know about it. After all, verbal abuse often involves yelling, put downs, name calling, and belittle behaviors. The researchers had shown that there is so much more to verbal abuse than people realize. In fact, some people are verbally abused on a regular basis without even recognizing that it's happening. Okay? So we all know when we're being abused now. And then here's the rest of it says when someone is being verbally abused, the person attacked them may contribution of both forms of abuse, like engaging in name calling and making threats. Now, this goes back to all the bullying that we all know on some of these channels here that are bullying people. And it says here, they can make threats too. We all know who's made threats, and I'm not going to say the channel's name, but I think you all know. Or they engage in name calling. Okay, so that's also what's going on too. You know, this is emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse. I don't care what it is. It's still abuse, and it still falls under the Domestic Violence Act, guys, okay? Abuse is abuse. Verbal abuse is the worst thing that people can do to another person. Then it says here, like engaging threats, but also in that is methods like gaslighting. Now, we've heard of that word gaslighting, okay? It's constantly correct a person's, or emptying her, or interrupting her, putting down her ideals and demeaning her for prolonged silent treatment is a form of verbal abuse. When this happens, the person is attempting to control and punish the victim by refusing to talk to her. Now, we all know that's going on, okay? For some people, especially those who either experience verbally abuse in a home or experience it as a child, it can often be overlooked because the verbal assaults feel like a normal way to communicate, but they are anything but normal and can have lasting consequences. Now, that can have a lot of consequences. Now, we're going to get into defining verbal abuse and bullying, okay? Because verbal abuse isn't as clear cut as other forms of abuse, bullying, like physical bullying or sexual bullying, it can be hard to identify. But that doesn't make it any less real. Typical verbal abuse involves some sort of verbal interaction that causes a person emotional harm. For instance, what's going on YouTube. We all know the channels that have been doing this. And that's why I say this has to stop on the internet. People, we have to be nice to each other, because there are a lot of crazies out there, and people you don't know by saying those things, and we all know who the channels are, that words can hurt. They can push somebody over the limit, and and it's a trigger for a lot of us people. You know, they can push us over the limit. Okay, you can push somebody over the edge, and the last thing I need is somebody being pushed over the edge because of the bullying to contemplate suicide. I don't want to see that happen, but you know what I'm saying. Bullying is abuse, okay? And then it says here, okay, guys? Typically, verbally abuse involves some of the verbal interaction. The cause of a person emotional harm. So, that, for instance, when someone is being downright critical, acting out in anger, using words to try to control another person, this is verbal abuse. This this in turn leaves a victim questioning who they are. In fact, it is not common for a victim of verbal abuse to feel eloquent or stupid or worthless. After all, they are being defined by verbally abused person. If a verbal abuse in a dating relationship can be particularly confused because the pattern is like not aversible, not abusive all the time. As a result, when the abuser is loving and gentle, the victim can forget all about the negative behavior. Ultimately, the victim ends up ignoring the patterns of verbal abuse or makes excuses for the behavior, saying things like he is just stressed out or he's going through a tough time right now. Okay, so now we're getting, so that's if, I'm sorry guys, that's if you know, you gotta learn, just, now we're gonna get into affect. Now that's emotional abuse. Now I'm serious, guys. When you when you get mentally abused, you have to be careful. People out there, and these channels over there, you are affecting the person's credibility. You are taking away their self-worth. You are taking away their self-confidence. When you bully and you downgrade somebody, you're taking their self-esteem away. Totally. And you're defining the person that they are. Or you're basically, let me get into this. So anyways, just like any other form of abuse or bullying, okay, bullying is underlined, okay, verbal abuse has lasting impact on victims. Now remember this, guys. Consequently, they can experience a host of issues, including everything from anxiety and depression, and to even PTSD. So this bullying has got to stop, guys. And channels, you know who you are, because this can lead to people that suffer from anxiety or depression. It can trigger them, their anxiety and depression. Okay? And they can even have PTSD. Okay? Because you are constantly, downgrading a person. In severe cases, in fact, a number of studies have shown that children who are verbally abused, either at home or by their peers at school, are at greater risk for depression and anxiety as adults. Okay? So this is children now. So if they're bullied or they're abused at home, they have a greater risk of getting depressed or being diagnosed as depressed as adults, or having anxiety as adults, guys. Okay? So this has to stop on the internet. Okay, so then it says verbal abuse who can cause the victims to believe every negative things about them, which in turn impacts their self-esteem. So you tell people, you degrade somebody, this is bullying, they can turn it inward, and it can have a lot, like I said, it can hurt their self-esteem, guys. Okay? You can hurt people's self-esteem by calling them names. And you channels, you know who you are. It also can impact every element of their life, including their academic performance, that other relationships, and their success at work later in life. In fact, when you verbal abuse, it's particularly severe. It can impact whether or not a victim can see herself as being successful in life, in area of life. So it doesn't impact people because they don't know if it can just ruin their life. People, you gotta understand, guys, this is some serious crap that's going on. Okay, so now we're gonna get down to the recognizing cyberbullying. Now you guys can look this up if you go in and say verbal abuse, you can look this article up. But anyways, I'm just putting it out there. When it comes to physical bullying, cyberbullying, sexual assault, victims do not question whether or not they have been abused. These types of abuse are obvious, but when it comes to verbal abuse, victims often question whether or not what their experience is truly abuse. They are also wondering whether or not it is a big deal. Here are some signs that a family member, friend, peer, or dating partner is verbally abused. Okay, so calls you names. Okay, and we all heard that. We know who the channels are. I'm not gonna say nothing, but you guys know who they are. Anytime someone engages in name calling, this is a form of formal abuse. Even if the names are said in neutral voice, this is not acceptable treatment of another person. Okay, so we know who that is. They both engage in it, and we know the channels. I'm not going to say their names, but I think you all know. Okay. And this is not acceptable treatment to call anybody's or to engage in it. This is not acceptable. It's abuse. Uses words to shame you. Example, including critical, sarcastic, or mocking words that are meant to put you down. These may be comments about the way you dress, talk, and your intelligence. Now, we know who does that. We know what channel does it. I'm not going to say any names. Okay? How they look, they judge us for dressing and talking. We all know which channel does that. But I'm not going to mention it. But we all know who it is. Basically, shaming is any comment that makes you feel inferior or ashamed of who you are. So it takes away your integrity, your self-worth. When people are bullying you, and this is cyberbullying, it takes away your self-worth. It takes away the person that you are inside. It defines you, because you get to the point you start believing this stuff. And then your depression and your anxiety set in. And then you got the PTSD on top of that. You know, people just need to be nice to each other. You know, and I know this has been going on. The bullying, it has to stop. And that's why I say this bullying needs to stop. Okay? Because people are going to get hurt. People have already gotten hurt. This has to stop. We have to find it in our hearts for peace and love. Because this verbal abuse is abuse. Abuse is abuse. I don't care if it's physical or verbal. It is still abuse. Verbal abuse is the worst, because it does. It demise your self-esteem. It takes away your self-worth. I know, I've been there. And I know that some of you are hurting out there. And I've been where you are. But we all have to find some light at the end of the tunnel and come together and just support one another. And peace and love. And laughing is a very good, it's very good for your health. But anyways, with that being said, okay, so then this one is, I'll put this up here. So then, let's see. So we got use words to shame you. Example, including criticize. Okay, I already said. So that's the words to shame you. So somebody that shames you. I just read that to you. Sorry, guys. Makes jokes at your expense. Okay. Typically, verbal abusive person will make you the butt of their jokes. This can be done in private or in person, but you don't find it funny. Then it is not harmless fun. What's more verbally abusive people usually select jokes that attack on areas where you feel vulnerable or weak. So yes, they attack areas that they feel vulnerable and weak. So they're going to get you at areas that your weekend. And so this bullying's got to stop, guys. So this one says, humiliate you in public. When you are insulted in public by a peer or friend, family member, or a dating partner, this can be particularly painful. The goal of the abuser is to control you by making you feel bad about who you are. So, again, it hurts your self-esteem. Especially when they do it, and the channels know who they are. They're humiliating other people. They're bashing people in. That's not right. You're humiliating people's dignity and self-confidence. That's, no. So then this one says, criticize you. Rather done in private or public or private, criticism can be painful, particularly if the person doing the criticizing is simply being mean and has no intentions of being constructive. So if they criticize you, that's still being mean. Yells, screams, or swears at you. Anytime someone yells or curses at you, this is display of power. The goal is to control and intimidate you into submission. As a result, it is abuse and should not be tolerated or excused. So you know who a channel is. They're swearing at their subs. That's wrong. And telling them to get the F off their channel, that's wrong. It is unexcusable. Well, we all know who those channels are. And I'm not going to mention names because I think you all know. Okay, so here's another one. Making threats. No threat should ever be taken lightly. When people make threats, they are trying to control and manipulate you. Remember, there is no better way to control someone than to make them fearful in some way. So, guys, some of you probably have been threatened, and that's probably why. It's a form of control. That's why, my best thing is you don't want them to take away your power. You want to keep your power. It's all about power and control, and the way they're going to do it is you go in there, whatever their chats are, and they're bashing people. That is the way, or they're threatening. I'm not saying they're threatening, but cops have been called on people. You don't do that. But we all know. Said, I don't believe in this. It's not who I am. I find it wrong. And hang on for a second. I just lost it. Hang on, guys. Because I just tapped out of this. Hang on, guys. So we know that we don't need to, because otherwise we're feeding into it. And, we're just giving them our power. And we don't want to do that. And, let me go in here. So I just clicked out of it. So I am sorry, guys. But I found it again. So I read you most. Let me see. So that's pretty much it. A word from Very Well that says, although the effects of verbal abuse can be significant, there is still hope for victims. In fact, one person becomes able to recognize verbal abuse in their lives, they can start making informed decisions about which friendships, dating friendships, are healthy, which are toxic and fake or abusive. They can learn to stand up to the verbal bully. Remember, verbal abuse doesn't have to leave a lasting impact. With interventions, victims can overcome and cope with bullying they have experienced. Okay, so now, but I want you guys to understand that yes, you can cope, you can pick and get out of those toxic relationships and fake ones too. That's really, ones, but you can cope with it. And I don't know if I got any more. This is for kids. So, I just want to let you know that it does leave an everlasting, you know, abuse on people. It's just gotta stop, guys. I mean, we all know. We just stay. We stay. I stay neutral. Um, I'm not on anybody's side, but I'm more on the others. I think I'm more a little on the side, but I still stay neutral. But I just don't support their channels anymore. I don't go in there and watch them. Um, and um, I just don't do that. And I think that if you just don't go in there and, you know, interact with it, I think we're all going to hear from this. And I think, you know, I think that if we finally just stay to our content on our channel and we just go to lives where we think where it's healthier and it's not toxic, I think this will all die down. I know some of you have suffered from all of this, and my heart goes out to you. And, you know, I just thought I'd bring that up about verbal abuse because it is abuse. Abuse is abuse. I mean, any way you look at it, it's abuse. And I just want to put that out there for you all. And I hope that you enjoyed this video and that I've answered some of your questions, that I've answered your questions. If you have any more questions, comment below. I would love to hear your opinions. And I would love to thank everybody, my new subscribers that have subscribed to me. If you like my videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you know when I put up new videos. I hope that this has helped a lot of people. And if I can help, just let me know. Just leave something in the comments and let me know what your ideals and your thoughts are on this video. And maybe we all can just come together and just support each other. And with that being said, I will see you guys later. And you all have a good day, good Tuesday, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Love you all. And thanks for my new subscribers. I appreciate it, and thank you, and you have a good day. Bye, and God bless you.